There's one in here. But levels of sponsorship, you generally can only have one presenting sponsor. But then you can have some or title sponsor. But you can have a platinum, a silver, a gold, or platinum, gold, silver, bronze. But don't turn away anything.
I guess more specifically what I'm asking is, are there bullet points on what bang they can get for their buck?
Go to their website, download the MMA, I think it was the marketing boot camp.
Yes.
He's got some demographic numbers in there that since I've used, I mean it'll show you, the 34.7% of this, and the average income is this.
Yeah.
Where
is this located?
It's on the KCBS website.
Okay.
www.kcbs.us.
But that's probably the best presentation for sponsorships that I've seen at any event I've been to, and I've been to lots of these things. But MMA's done a great job on it. I think they've taken it from where it was to a whole different level. MMA creative.
It's a marketing firm.
Okay.
And I will tell you this too. I talked to Mike, and I don't know if you know this, but his goal is to have people on staff to actually help contest at some point. He just doesn't. I mean, they're just not there yet.
Yeah,
he helps them.
That is not inconsistent.
Yeah,
what they like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be great if they had a division that could help. Well, and they do help some now, because I know Tyson's got that right brand bacon that they're working on, and some other things, because Veronica's trying to send some stuff to us, because Tyson is literally 100 feet from our competition site. But with Big Red and these other things, yeah. So I mean, they're and they'll help. I mean, I don't think they publicize a lot of this, but Veronica, if she has something, she'll help you. Because that's a win-win for everybody. If the contest succeeds, KCBS succeeds, MMA Creative succeeds. I mean,
we don't want it to fail.
Yeah, I mean, that defeats the
purpose. There is no cookie cutter formula,
right,
for an event to make money.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem with sponsorships too, because Greenwood, South Carolina, has done a great job, but they're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's really nothing near Greenwood. Versus Memphis or Kansas City, you've got a lot of things around it. Atlanta, we've got a lot of things.
Georgia, their event draws 30,000 people a weekend.
Yeah.
So that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
They just want something to supplement to change up the craft fair that draws twice a year.
The Dillard contest?
Which one?
Dillard, Georgia.
No.
Talk about the middle of nowhere.
It is, but I tell you what,
it's wonderful.
Is there something else going on with it, or
it's a bluegrass festival?
Okay. Well, why haven't I been there?
I will tell you this though, from a competitor standpoint, people stay on the waiting list for Dillard for years to get a spot. In fact, we got our spot last year for the first time. I'd been on the waiting list for 3 years, and I'd never give it up. You couldn't. If I never competed in any other contest again, I'd keep going to Dillard.
That is a fabulous contest.
Where is Dillard located?
It's part of North Carolina.
Yeah, it's literally 5 miles from North Carolina.
Okay.
It's right below Franklin. Right below Franklin.
Oh, okay. What time of year is that?
August. August, yeah.
It's the first weekend of August.
August, September, October is really when most of our events do. That region get really busy. I know we got a couple in May.
And you have Franklin the weekend after Dillard.
Franklin, North Carolina?
Yes.
They also do local, like, they'll catch trout, and then teams will do that Friday night.
Yeah. And she's doing corn and tomatoes this year.
Doing what?
Which corn and tomatoes is her ancillary thing, which when she announced that at that Young Harris weekend, we thought, there's so many things you can do with corn and tomatoes. Good Lord.
Or good. In one year they did cabbage.
Yeah, I think she did cabbage and grits last year, was it?
She is the organizer?
Jane Tomlin.
Yeah.
From Dillard?
Yeah.
Jane and Steve Tomlin.
Yeah. And you won't meet better folks than Jane and Steve.
Sorry to keep asking questions. I'm just trying to put together what you do.
That's why I came here, was to pick everybody's brain. If I learned anything from one person,
here, and people that are already doing it, you got a great perspective.
Well, this is my first contest that we've actually organized. I've competed and been part of quite a few and seen the good things, the bad things, and the first year mistakes. And thought, I don't want to do those.
I'm going to pick your brain a lot. I'm going to get your contact information.
I tell you what, my goal going into this was, from a competitor standpoint, I remember exactly the goodie bag we got, how we were treated, and could we get ice, and was the power good? I mean, the little simple things is what the teams are going to remember. And to me, if you don't have teams, you don't have a competition.
Absolutely.
And if I can
The
bring,
judging is the same way. People will repeat judge if they're treated well.
Yeah.
Because they're on their own pocket, you know.
I don't know what you guys have experienced, but I've gotten 200 judges applications already, and my event's not till November.
And it's the first time I've
Oh yeah, and I can't count the number of master judges I have in a stack.
We
I mean,
have
it's
so many
unbelievable,
judges.
the judges that, and people that want to come from the state of Washington, from Connecticut, and all over the country to judge in coming Georgia. And I thought, oh, okay. I mean, it's amazing to me. And everybody told me that going out. I thought, well, I'm kind of scared. If I get 80 teams, I got to have all these judges. Oh no, I can't just go on the street and scrounge up a judge that's any good.
What's the quota per team that you need judges for? I mean,
One per team in multiples of
One.
6. Every item is judged by 6 judges.
okay.
So if you have 30 teams, you need 6 tables of judges, or 5 tables of judges.
Yeah, you need one
Five
judge
tables.
per team. Well, and you need a table captain
Plus
per
a
table.
table captain.
So for every 6 teams, you need one more as a table captain. But almost any of these judges, because we put that on our form, are you willing to table captain? And they're all, most of them are willing to do that too. So, but there's, table captains classes and all. I mean, I'm telling you, KCBS is the best resource. If anybody's looking to put on a contest, KCBS is the best resource to go to.
You know, and it makes it easier, particularly for a first-time event. You're not having to do on site. Like I'm a Memphis judge, and you know, that's complex.
It's what?
It's complex.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I've talked to a lot of Memphis barbecue guys, and a lot of the cook teams are switching over anyway. And it's not just that.
The dog and pony show.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not just that though, but the number of contests you can do in MBN are very limited because I think there's only 17 or 20 contests a year. I mean, there's not many.
Almost 40.
What is there? Yeah, but there's not a lot. Not compared to. I mean, I can go on the KCBS website and find one every weekend that's within driving distance. If I wanted to do 46, I could feasibly do them. But for a guy that's going to do 10, there's no problem finding them within a few hours of your house with ease. But I got to tell you too, the reps. As soon as you sanction with KCBS, your rep will call you and they'll help you galore. I mean, no point might tell you if there's something you need. Yeah, if there's something you need or you have questions, call me. And both of my reps have answered questions that I'm sure they've heard a zillion times and probably sick of
Who
hearing.
do you have, Ronnie?
Ronnie and Harvey. Yeah.
How many reps do you have?
We've got 90 some odd right now, but hopefully we're going to be going to more.
Because I was just afraid that if
We're starting to work them to death.
I'm going to say, Ronnie, did you see his name on a lot of contests out there?
Well, it's no wonder why.
Yeah.
He's extremely
Yeah,
good.
well, I'm sure he gets requested a lot because he's a pretty personable guy anyway, and he knows all the teams. I mean, that's a big deal when you start talking about it. When a rep knows the teams on a first name basis, again, that makes the teams feel
Exactly.
comfortable.
Are the reps supplemented by KCBS or just their expenses paid?
As an organizer, you pay their expenses. We give them a pittance
Stipend.
for giving up their weekend.
Yeah.
So really, I was shocked. I thought sanctioning was going to be a lot more. I thought it was going to be a much bigger financial investment.
I'm surprised
And really,
at
it's
the
not.
rate as well. What I just heard.
And
You said
a lot of it
350.
depends too on the number of teams you end up getting because you pay that fee per team afterwards. But which is nice because I'd much rather have that on the back end than on the front end. But to me, it was. I was shocked at how little it was really. I expected it to be a lot more.
Now, what's the average fee per team for entry?
It's all over the board. You normally, depending on the purse. Yours is $250.
Ours is about $250. I mean, I've
For
seen
all
them,
categories or just
that's for all categories. I've seen anywhere from $2 to. Well, I mean, you've got a few out there that
It's
are.
$150 to $500.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some that are $5, but. And a lot of it depends on the services you're giving them too. I mean, are you giving them 50 amp power for that fee, or are you giving? I mean, it just varies on your site. We were very fortunate in that our site has 20, 30, and 50 amp hookups already there in water and sewer at every site. And we've got 346 of those pedestals throughout this fairground. So we were very fortunate because I didn't have to pull generators and water hoses and splitters and all that stuff. But
That's a great.
I mean, I would tell everybody, if you're doing a contest, really look at your budget, because I know Kimberly Flores in Kennesaw has $11,000 in generators before she gets a team in, and that's not spider boxes or fuel or having the guy from the company there for 48 hours because they have to have somebody on site if something happens. And that's not counting the hoses and the splitters and the other obstacles they deal with.
Did you have to rent the fairgrounds?
The city donated it.
Good.
And we have some family friends that are part of the state level, and we're actually getting ready to receive some money from the State Tourism Board. The Big Pig Jig in Atlanta gets some state tourism money, and actually our county and city are both matching whatever the state gives us.
Oh, that's great.
But the economic impact, which is another thing that MMA Marketing Boot Camp will tell you, is huge. Greenwood alone, which again is in the middle of nowhere, brings in over $1 million to that community in over the weekend. Those are huge numbers, and the economic impact is where a lot of this is, because there's no reason your local governments should not pony up a little bit to help make these happen. If you're going to bring $40,000 or $50,000 in sales tax alone into a community, there's no reason they shouldn't give you $5,000 or $10,000, and not if it's approached with the right number.
What is your operating budget forecast?
About 50, right at 50.
And that is
Keep in mind,
anticipating how many
that
teams?
includes 21 in prize money.
But total budget is 50 around for how many teams?
About 50. We're going to have about 80 pro teams the first year, and I could house more, but I'm not. The last thing I want to do is have 200 teams show up my first year and be pulling my hair out by Thursday afternoon, running in circles. And we're doing backyard too, which I think backyard is where the future a lot of this is, because that's where you're going to get your pro teams from for your next year anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
People's choice is a big deal, because as Mike will tell you, people come to a food festival, want food.
The biggest complaint we get is
That's the problem.
around all this food and you can't eat.
Yeah, people come. I came to a barbecue contest, and they got to go to a vendor.
The general public, when they hear barbecue championship, they want to try barbecue, and I can't count the number of times people have come up to our booth and said, "Do you have samples?" Well, no, we can't.
It is universally against health department rules for teams to distribute food to the general public.
So how do you overcome it?
Sometimes you can get them to stay home.
Sometimes the health department will just let you do it. Now,
Get a one-time
universally
waiver?
also, the health department cannot enforce any health department standards against a true 501c3 nonprofit. So if you can find a local 501c3 nonprofit who will run your People's Choice, you can get around it. Now, we filed for 501c3 status, so we should have it according to what all our people have told us.
When did you find it?
2 months ago.
Only 4 months to go.
Yeah, it's a process, and what we've been told too is if it's cut and dry and a clerk can just stamp it where he doesn't have any questions, it's quick. He said, but if it has to get kicked up to the next level, it's another 90 days after that. And so it can be a process. But when you're selling sponsorships too, if you're not a 501c3 status, you're not going to get in the door with Coke or Home Depot or Lowe's or any of these bigger companies, because if they, granted they want a return on investment, but if they can't write it off immediately, then it's not. Most of them
You can
won't
still
start.
write it off as advertising.
Yeah, but most of them won't. It's a lot harder to get your foot in the door without that kind of status.
Who's the beneficiary of the C3?
We have 3 charities that we're doing, and actually we teamed up with about 4 more that we're going to let run the drink booth and sell the ice. And do
So
some
they're
other
giving
things.
you volunteer labor.
Yes, yeah. We're going to do some product demonstrations and some other things to do the educational aspect of the 501c3. So.
Good.
So, but guys, I've been working on this for 2 years.
I was gonna say, you got your
It's got his act together.
Yeah, this was a long process. I mean, this is not overnight. So, but I keep harping KCBS, but if I have not gotten involved with KCBS like I did, I wouldn't know the things I did, because 99% of what I learned was through either KCBS or banquet networking through members. Because even this last one, I met so many people, but to be able to call Mike McLeod on the phone and get him to call me back to me, that was huge. And he was more than willing to answer questions and help and do all kinds of things. And things like this. I mean, this is huge. You're going to meet a lot of people here if you really want to. You'll meet a lot of people here.
It's all about.
This is a phenomenal networking opportunity.
I got to tell you, the barbecue in itself is a totally different atmosphere. You can go to a competition and you'll find teams. They may not tell you the top secret ingredient, but they'll help you. I mean, it's amazing. Most of these guys will give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah.
It's a fellowship. Hardly knowing you. Yeah. It's a really interesting dynamic. It's one that's unique from what I've seen.
And it's going to get bigger.
My only concern is when you start getting bigger too. Money gets bigger and the greed factor gets bigger.
Human nature.
Other things come out.
Can't help that.
So,
It's one of my new board members says.
well, you've already seen that with Sam's and people trying to sign up under other names and things like that, and it's little things like that. And my theory behind all that was, do you think people aren't going to know when they show up on site? I mean, it's kind of hard to hide. It's a big world, but yet it's a small world too.
Well, and it's somewhat self-policing, because it's like if a team were substandard in cleanliness, somebody would tell us.
Oh yeah.
And so you can take precautions against that. And one team cooking off the back of a tailgate with one sheet of aluminum foil to trim his meat.
Do the reps sort of police that during the contest? I mean, I know
That's their job.
They have some discussions beforehand with teams. Is this included in the one-time license? I'm interested in that as a starting point. What do you get?
The one-time license is your chance to test the waters. So, what the teams won't like about it is the points won't count. It can't be a state championship. So so it does have some drawbacks, but it would let you have a chicken and ribs contest. You would have to pay the expenses of the rep.
One rep.
If we can find one. Because we're asking them to work for free.
And as she was saying, it's getting harder to get reps because the few that we have, and you're in North Carolina, there's some, but they're busy. I mean, there's a lot of contests that have popped up in the last few years, so the reps that we have that you're not flying in from other areas are really busy.
But it gives you access to use our rules, our proprietary materials, our tabulation program.
Does that describe all that in here?
Yeah. No.
How do I find out about that?
Talk to me about it.
Okay.
I can send you a one-time license agreement.
Okay.
If you want to see that.
I mean, I'm interested in the rules.
The rules are available on the website.
For the back here, you mentioned you still need a rep also. Okay.
Yeah.
KCBS doesn't publicize this either, but they'll sell you the mailing list for the teams. Because I just bought it last week.
Organizers.
Yeah, and it's I don't know how
We
many.
don't sell it
There's
generally.
tons of people on there, but for an organizer to get that, and it's broken down by state. So I mean, if I don't want to mail to California, I don't have to. I can only mail to surrounding states. But it was priceless.
How much is it?
I think I paid $100 for it. It was it was nothing.
It's mainly for access to teams and judges.
Yeah. But you're gonna find too, and what I found is, and I'll tell you personal experience. The very first barbecue competition I ever cooked in was an unsanctioned event.
Was it what?
It was an unsanctioned. Guy ran it by his own rules.
Yeah.
He offered a tremendous first prize. I mean, it was.
Where was it?
Madera, California. You probably have heard of this contest over the years, anyway. And you've got some big teams in California, queuing for you, the Waltons and some other people. None of them would compete in this. And I thought, well, this is strange. This is a big prize. So we then learned, I think there was only one true KCBS team that competed in this thing, and the guy bounced all the checks. And I mean, it was awful. I mean, it was bad. I mean, and it was unfortunate because it took a great facility and a great area and something with some great potential and just destroyed it, because I don't know why anybody would ever do an event there again, because it's tainted at this point. But there's so much validity behind a sanctioned event, and there's nothing against Carolyn. There's 5 or 6 sanctioning events out there, sanctioning bodies out there that are worth talking to. But there's pros and cons to each one. KCBS is the biggest. I mean, and that's the bottom line. They're by far the most reputable. The most well-known. I mean, to me, it was a no-brainer. I mean, you start talking about some of these others, and I mean, you've got Florida Barbecue Association, which is doing events in Georgia and Alabama and all over the place, and you've got the Georgia Barbecue Association, which is doing events.
They just do one?
No, they've got 10 or 12 now. Yeah, but it's interesting because none of the KCBS Georgia teams really cook with them. It's different rules, it's different things. And I was talking to one of the guys over at Chris Lilly's table about MVN events, and it's a personal preference is really what it is. I don't
Not better or worse. It's just
I don't do Memphis Barbecue Network stuff because I don't really care about that dog and
I sure
sales
hate to do
presentation
this.
stuff.
There's a lot of good
It's just
conversation
not what I want to
going on,
do.
but we have 1 minute before the time change.
I believe in the blind,
And we'll
turning it
take
in,
musical chairs
letting the
again.
product speak for itself. I don't want
Politics out.
to. I don't want a used car salesman selling me barbecue and convincing me that I need to take this home today. I mean, that's not what
I think
to me
that's
it's
more
about.
for the public.
It is, and I think that, and you gotta look at where that started too. I mean, it was Memphis in May. It was started around this one event, and it's just kind of split off and gone through its changes over the years.
All right, that 1 minute has come and gone. It's time to change
How many
position.
competitions do you have per year, basically, right now?
We're at 350 this year so far.
And
It's March.
there'll be a lot more next year. I bet you'll hit 400 next year.
Well, with the corporate interest now,
This Sam's Club thing I think is huge because my second conversation with Coca-Cola, they already knew about that. And that tells you
I'm not familiar with the Sam's Club thing. Is that what somebody here in the booth can
It's a
tell me
series.
about it?
They're doing 20 contests in 5
Do a good
regions.
job of picking. This is your last time, last go
And
around.
the grand finale in Bentonville.
it's the closest thing to like a bracketed barbecue contest or championship series that we've ever had. I mean, you've got your Jack Daniels Invitationals and your American Royals and all these invitationals that people want to say is a national championship on that, but this is truly the winners of this bracket go against the winners in this bracket, and then the winners of that contest go to the finals. So I mean, it's the closest thing, and it really true will show consistency.
Let's see.